I'm Luke Luchteron here at Elusive Hill Dairy. We are currently milking 1,490 cows and our 200 plus head of dry cattle on the farm. We're in central Wisconsin here, right between maybe Spencer and Marshfield. So there's a lot of big dairies right around here by Wausau, Marshfield. I came to the farm here. I joined in a partnership with my cousin Aaron and his mom, Elma Roll. I came here 6 years ago, took on the herdsmanship role. I had a smaller dairy previous to that. And the farm, though, has been in the Luchteron family for 6 generations. So this was the next big step for our families here coming together when I came. Previous to this parlor, we were milking in a double 10 herringbone that was also a BouMatic. It was installed in 1992 by my business partner Aaron's dad, Gary. Very much had reached the end of its life, or its service life, as you would say, being 34 years old. Main goals and challenges that we saw when we were thinking about when we started down this journey, I would call it, of how we were going to expand and how we were going to grow. Obviously, labor was at the forefront. How do you do more with less? Everybody's discussing that, talking about that. And then once you kind of start dialing in how you're going to handle labor and what can help you with labor, then next it really came down to cow comfort. What can we do to make a quality experience that's consistent for the animal? And with quality, I'm also going to touch on, how can we harvest a quality product from the cattle? Then lastly, but not the least important, probably the most important, is what kind of product could we do or what step could we take that had excellent service behind it? Because nowadays just about anybody will sell you a product, but to have outstanding service behind the product, that was really the cherry on top in the process. Some options that had stood out on the BouMatic system to us versus other systems was we really liked the drive system that relates to a BouMatic, just where the drives are centrally located and out of harm's way in the center of the rotary where they're not getting wet or dirty and staying out of the way of the workers. Also, we really liked the hose support idea. It seemed very simple to us, very ergonomic, just a simple, basic design. Love the idea of the smart lights and Pulse MD. Pulse MD has been a big help on the farm. So those would be several of the things that really stood out to us when it came to looking at BouMatic compared to other companies. Our local BouMatic dealers see it for refrigeration. Of all the reasons we went the route we did, they are by far one of the biggest, if not the biggest. They have an excellent team behind them. They have all the service we could ask for, and they were very supportive and with us through every decision in the process, helping us to understand what we needed and what we wanted even before we knew it. Just once again, CA for Refrigeration, just a great company to work with and has excellent support. We faced several challenges during the building and installation phase. I would say the biggest of that was just being weather, just being in central Wisconsin, having the negative below winters. And every time we would have an issue, CA was always stepping up, as was BouMatic, of what can we do to help, whether it was a ground thaw unit or bringing pumps to the construction site to help remove water, and just really guiding you through to help keep everything a seamless process and try and keep the project on track as much as we could. I have to say, our overall satisfaction with CA-FER's refrigeration and BouMatic in general is just, it really has gone above and beyond of what I ever expected. Once again, every time we've had a challenge or something, they've met it in an exceedingly fashion. It's been fantastic. Yeah, when it comes to startup and the initial milkings, that question gets answered a lot. And there's a lot of different stories you'll hear about with people in rotaries. The first milking was a challenge, I'll word it, but I was incredibly astonished at how quick cows learned and came to like the wheel, really. About 3 milkings and every cow they were running to it and actually pushing other cows out of the way. They really do learn quick. It was, I did not expect it to go that seamless after the first day, but yeah, well, once you get that first day behind you, it's only up from there and it goes quick. Some of the biggest improvements we've had once we installed the rotary, first one that comes to mind is our cell count. We dropped around 70 to 100 points in cell count, and really without changing any kind of procedures. We were using the same prepping procedures, same attaching procedures as we was before, and I have to believe it just comes down to the consistency of the milking experience that we're giving the cattle. That has been the big drive, I believe, behind our cell count dropping. Other noticeable factors we have had, definitely really efficient on labor. We're able to milk these 1,500 cows with only one guy prepping cattle and then the other guy attaching the units. which seems to astound me. We were using that much labor, if not more, milking 1,000 cows in the double 10 herringbone that we previously had. Production continues to seem to make climbs every month here, every week, which has been really something, I mean, that we're obviously happy about and really helps us out. Also have seen some big improvements in herd management. That's mostly due to the BouMatic sort gates that we installed. Being able to catch that small individual group of animals that actually need to be touched or need tasks done, and to not have to sort through all the other cows. That has been a huge time and labor saver here on the farm. And that is especially nice when it comes down to the fact that most of your labor that's doing the herdsman's work and the cattle, that's a more skilled labor, and that time is very costly. So that has been a huge help. So when it comes to sorting, we're doing that 2 ways. Most of it is being done in the office. We're typing in the numbers on the computer. That's when we're giving shots for breeding programs, or when we're giving vaccinations, or when we're pregnancy checking, ultrasounding the cattle on Mondays during our herd health. Another way that cattle are being sorted here on the farm is the milkers. And employees do have a computer of their own over in the milking station. And when they're noticing cows with mastitis, they are able to quickly turn around, type that cow's number in, and get her caught so that we can get her to our hospital pen or special needs and get her to treatments that she needs. Cow flow on the Rotary is one of those areas that has really exceeded my expectations, and you probably put your expectations high when you're going to a Rotary of just what cow flow is going to be like. When it comes to cows coming to the pens, you have cows that as soon as that pen gate is opened up, you have cows coming up to run onto the Rotary. And you can see it when they bring that group of cows up. The first 20, 30 cows in every group are way ahead of the rest of them, being brought into the holding area and then staged for the crowd gate to come down and push the cows onto the wheel. But boy, seldom are there any cows that are actually touching the gate. The cows do want to come onto the wheel. It really is something remarkable. It's a real seamless flow from trying to be the first cow on to getting back to the pen to do cow things where they can eat and lay down. It's really been a key part of our efficiency and our profitability here. Cow comfort on the Rotary, that was something I had alluded to earlier a little bit about how cows broke and broke to the wheel, or transitioned to the wheel as we call it, very quickly. And one of the things you'll notice is it does not take long at all before you'll be able to count out of the 72 stalls that we have here. It's nothing to see 60 or more of the cows chewing their cud, and just the way they leisurely walk on and back off it is, I gotta believe it's an incredibly comfortable experience, just the way cows walk on and off, and it seems so natural, and cow flow is fantastic. When it comes to the leg spreaders, I don't see cows tripping over them or anything like that. It seems to be a very natural stance for them. Once again, cows seem to load in a very natural way, walk on, and the leg spreaders are positioned in such a fashion that it does not bother them. The leg spreaders seem to very much help with attachment. They seem to put the legs in a fashion where the udder is in a very serviceable area, if you would like to word it that way. Guys are having no problem getting in there and attaching all 4 teacups to the udders in the way you need to be done. So when it comes to the FlowStar Extreme clusters that we have here, we were using the older FlowStar, the taller ones. These ones definitely, I know I've heard people be more concerned about if you can get the flow through them, and we have not experienced any problems with that. With cows climbing up on production more and more, we have more and more cows going well over that 100 pounds a day, and it definitely seems to be getting the cows milked out on time before they're hitting the mandatory forced detach position at the end. And with the lighter weight claw, I definitely feel like we hear less squawking on that end of the aspect too. As far as employee comfort here, it didn't take me long. About 2 or 3 days into it, I started asking the guys what they thought about it and how they liked it, and everybody met me with exceedingly thumbs up. They like the comfort, they like the standing in a more central location and not moving up and down in the pit compared to other parlors. Everybody, of course, loves the new state-of-the-art facility. You're housed in a well-ventilated milking area, which is a huge increase. There's a fair amount of automation and cleaning on the wheel, which has also been very beneficial, and the employees really do like that. Claws are getting sprayed off automatically on the backside, and just I think of everything, my employees have been exceedingly happy with the cleanliness and the comfort of the new facility. And they also do like just how simple and easy it is to scrub and attach cows in a new facility. Smart lights that BouMatic installed here have definitely been a nice piece to the equipment that we have. It's very easy to see the different colored lights and know what they mean. We've learned them up pretty fast. You do like the ability to walk around and know that the blinking red means that the cow needs to be reattached. And it's also beneficial on the end to see the purples and know what cows are getting forced detached. That way you can decide if they need to go to a different group or if we needed to lengthen our milking times, which is something we haven't done a whole lot of here yet, but we're definitely looking at into the future. Pulse MD was one of the few features that we did put on the parlor right away. And plain and simple, that came down to the ability to graph every pulsator every time it's attaching to a cow. The financial benefit behind that seemed very huge to us. The fact that you have a quick response when there is a mastitis outbreak, you are able to graph your pulsators instantly and access the data on what pulsators haven't been performing properly. Also with Pulse MD, getting the real-time display has been a real asset, because the employees have a screen behind them in the attaching and staging area over there, where them and myself with a computer in the office are all keeping an eye on the pulsators and the pulsation system 24/7, monitoring those units that are either it's a hose detached or a hose that has got a hole in it on the pulsation line, or sometimes it is the pulsators, and just being able to see those problems before they become an even bigger problem and being able to correct them and repair them right away has been just a huge asset. Yeah, when you're down in the center, the Pulse MD, the smaller screens on each individual pulsator can be extremely helpful, just in identifying what units are having pulsation issues, and also in identifying what the issues are on that pulsator. Sometimes you're down there and you don't even know you have a pulsator that's having problems. You're down there checking on one and you're checking on it, and then you see another one, and that can really be helpful. No, I am not a tech person, but moving to your guys' tech and learning it was a very easy process for me. Yeah, the graphs that come with the smart light and a recorded history of how the smart lights and pulsators have been performing has been extremely helpful when we've had issues, and going back and diagnosing those issues and trying to see what exactly is happening. And sometimes it's pretty remarkable as far as what's happening in one group is not happening in the next group. And the data that is stored is invaluable, really, when it comes to diagnosing issues. Yeah, Pulse MDs are one of the things that I would recommend you put on right away. That has been extremely beneficial, and now that I have it, I would have a very hard time going back to not having it. The Viewpoint touchscreen has been a real asset here in the parlor and in the expansion. It was one of those things we put in. I put it in for the simple purpose of I wanted employees to be able to catch cows themselves. Put that in, really did not know what to expect. Have to say we've been using it more and more. Seem to find more uses for it. It's extremely rugged. The guys can get it wet. They can touch it with milking gloves and it's still reading. Something that we weren't planning on that's been a real pleasant surprise in its ruggedness and its usefulness. Getting used every milking for sure, whether it's sorting cows, and when they're not sorting cows with it, we're having the real-time data from your Pulse MDs on it so they can identify which units are having issues. The newer detacher cylinder has been very easy for us to service. All of my employees picked up rather quickly how to slide it out and make changes if there need to be changes done to it. But really, anytime we're servicing them, it's coming down to just simply a bent snap or an eye bolt quick. As far as the cylinders themselves, they've really functioned seamlessly here since startup. Yeah, the simpler and shorter bale design on the newer 2.0s really seems to give better visibility and more accessibility to the cow on the deck of the Rotary, and employees have commented on that, and so have other people that have taken tours of the facility, just how accessible and what a good view of the cow you do have in this parlor. The accessibility on the underside of the deck on the 2.0s has really been beneficial. You got more space underneath there from the backside of your bale all the way to the front of the skirting. Really has made attaching hoses underneath and anything that runs underneath more accessible and easier to get a hold of. Yeah, when it comes to the placement of the drives on the Rotary here, having the internally placed drives has been really beneficial to us, we find, and when we're reviewing other competitors, you may have the drives on the outside of the wheel where number one, you have workman's safety, where your employees are exposed and in a closer proximity to the drives does not seem as beneficial or as safe as having the drives inside with the safety gates and the tripwire. Also, the other bonus you have of the drives being internal in the Rotary is that they're not getting wet. They're well housed and they're covered by the deck, so you're not having any of that slippage on the drive. They're basically housed, like they're basically in a garage. There's like two things. Everybody has said how much lower and easier it is to get to the cow. And the other one is the placement of the drives. They go, wow, that's nice. That's something we wish we had, because They're clean, they're dry, they're stored where you want them. Yeah, some of our plans for the future, we plan to continue to expand the herd. We're gonna grow, over 2,000 cows, I would say, is our goal. We went with a bigger wheel up front and put on a few less of the bells and whistles. Really want to look to getting some milk metering on here, whether it's getting pounds or possibly even there's some new technologies coming out with butter, fat, and protein weights. That would be huge for us. Also looking at doing some cow ID, obviously, with that, so that we can get that data, in partner with that cow and get it sent back to the office where we can analyze it and do what we need to do with that data, whether it's cullings or getting medical treatment to cows. A lot of people ask the question of, well, what kind of advice would I give if you were considering a rotary parlor, or how to take the next step, or what you want to do? And I really think it comes down to you got to find a business that you're going to partner with that's going to help to give you the advice. And by that advice, I mean you're going to need to tour your dairies, see what is right for you, what fits your model. Every model is different. Every dairy operates differently. The one piece of advice I would give, kind of sounds cliche, but make sure you build a parlor big enough to expand. The current markets we're in, that's something that's a reality, and these parlors are definitely built in the fashion that they're gonna last over 25 years. So you really need to plan ahead of just how big your dairy is gonna grow in the next 20 plus years. Yeah, absolutely, I would recommend this to other dairies. Plain and simple, it has greatly increased our cattle flow, quality of milk harvested from the cattle, and also the support every step along the way has been fantastic. Whether that was some late night calls with some BouMatic people themselves, and obviously plenty of service calls with our local dairy dealer, CA for Refrigeration. The support is really just what I have to talk on again. It's just been fantastic every step of the way, and never being hung out to dry like some other people would feel. Yeah, what I've seen in the technology of the newer 2.0 Xcalibur parlors is I would absolutely recommend them to other people. We have not had any issues with it. It's been a fantastic piece of equipment and really has met or exceeded all of our expectations that we've had in cow comfort, profitability, and just easing labor.